6. He said it was just energy. What did you see was the difference?
Well, that was a lot of it. They were trying to take the pain away from us, and so there wasn't really anybody guarding him. I'm okay with him shooting it. He can't shoot it on the first pass. I mean, we got beat by Western Kentucky because whoever got it shot it. You know, we can't do that, but we run some motion and some curls and things, and he steps back and got his shoulder square. He's worked really hard at shooting it.
Coach, just one turnover in the second half. I know it's something that you guys have, or you stressed to these guys. Just kind of what you saw there, what you thought. Anything different there?
They didn't really pressure us much, but we did pass the ball better. We've put an enormous amount of time in trying to teach them how to feed the post, pass the cutters, those kind of things.
What has Emmett Matthews given you guys these last 2 games?
He's just getting better and better. I mean, it's hard to get better if you're not coachable. And he's really coachable. He's terrific. And, it wouldn't shock me if he didn't bypass some other guys that aren't as coachable.
Well, Ito West Harris did not play. Injury or what was the situation?
Coach's decision. He was banged up. That wasn't the reason he didn't play. But he is really banged up. He's got a bunch of swelling and inflammation in his elbow. Of course, it'd have to be his shooting elbow, which we're going to have to get all that out of there and get it down before, and the concern is that he's going to be in really terrible shape, and he's a very well conditioned guy, but you don't get in basketball shape, and that's what happened to us in Buffalo game. He was in full body cramps, and he's done less practice wise since then than he did before that. So it's going to be a while.
Bob, what does it say to you when, like Canante says today, that his first half was bad because he didn't have any energy in the first half? A player that feels they don't have energy, how does that happen when you work all week to play a game?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think, Bob, that people have stopped challenging him at the rim, and he got his. If you kind of think back, he got a lot of energy and enthusiasm by blocking shots, and he didn't block a shot today. But I mean, people just aren't attacking him. They're coming in, they're jump stopping and trying to dump it down to his guy if he helps up, or pitch it out and shoot a 3. Nobody's really. We haven't played anybody yet, even Western Kentucky, and they got some pretty doggone good athletes. They didn't really try to attack him at the rim.
That play you run with Issa, where he kind of curls around the screen and you kind of get him going to the basket. He kind of talked about that's a play where he has a lot of different reads on which way he can go and stuff. And he says he kind of enjoys it. I imagine he would when he has a night like this. But is that something you guys work on a lot in practice? Is that just something designed specifically for him?
Well, if you go back to the Buffalo game, we had him wide open and Knapp threw it over his head up in the stands. Same play.
Mm-hmm.
At a really critical time. Issa is very, very good at playing without the ball. He cuts without the ball. He understands this guy turns his head. He can cut by him. He does a good job of curling it into the rim, rather than a lot of those guys that ran. If we ran for some of those guys, they'd end up veering that way instead of curling it at the rim like he does. You know, he had all those turnovers because he's not, he is way, way, way better without the ball than he is with the ball. And we kind of came to that understanding. He's played much better. Yeah, he's actually been in the gym and he's shooting the ball better too.
How much does it open up the lane for him when Sags can hit that shot and drag a Smiths outside?
Yeah, see, but that really, I mean, it helps him in other ways. It doesn't help him with what we run for him, because Smiths is involved in the screen. He's guarding the screener, so he's got to be out of the lane. It was more when we were trying to run some continuity stuff. They were standing in the lane and Sags got his shots. We X'd off of him, and we were down screening or back screening, and he has the ball in that situation all the time, because it's got to go either way, and he's open. I just don't want to shoot quick, that's all. You can shoot it as long as it's not quick.
Do you think it's been hard on Asa to grasp the idea of what you've been trying to get to him, maybe for 3 years now, and that now possibly it's coming to him, and you might see a lot more of this?
Well, these guys, AAU, I think, conditions these guys that they have to have the ball, and it's been I kind of get him playing without the ball, and then he's back handling the ball again. And handling the ball is not his thing. I mean, he's not a real explosive kind of athlete, but he's really a good basketball player because he understands how to play. You know, he grew up playing with his dad. His dad, I think his dad still plays, but he grew up playing with men. You know, with his dad. And so he didn't have the ball. So he's really learned to play without it very well.
Looked like a few sets of 2-3 in the second half, and maybe point drop. Is that part of the search for something else you can do to change the pace?
Listen, I tried everything. We tried 1-3-1 early in the year, which used to be pretty good for us. We were going to play 1-1-3, but 1-1-3 is a little harder. You got to teach a whole lot more. And I thought we'd just go in the old, church league 2-3 maybe, and make them shoot it over us, and they shot layups.
So that search still continues for your.
The search is ongoing. Yes.
Talk defense a little bit. I mean, your team today gave up 53% shooting. You forced, when I say only 14 turnovers, it was only 14, and 6 of them came from the center. It didn't seem, there was a lot of open shots and the like. So, is this a work in progress? Is that what it is?
Well, one, we don't have the foot speed that we've had. There's no Tariq out there. There's no Tavon out there. There's obviously no JC Dax. We just don't have the foot speed that we had before, for one. And then secondly, we are really poor fundamentally. Our footwork is atrocious. And when you have bad footwork, it's hard to stay in front of somebody. And because of the way we've played, we get pretty spread out. And I'm afraid I don't want to give in to them, but I mean, we may be a better pack line team. Just sit in the gaps. But then you're letting people shoot threes. You're hoping they don't make threes. So I don't, and you can't create much. You don't create many turnovers. If that makes sense.
You always make sense.
Good. Well, I got a couple guys sitting in the library room that don't think I make any difference.
That's different. They have to go out and do it.
Anything else? Coach, I believe Napper's the third different point guard who started so far this year. Where do you just assess that position group right now at this point in the year?
Not good enough. But I think they're talented enough. They're just not. You know, it's a heck of a step. Although we were counting on that more just because at the end of the year you got to play against Jackson JC practice, and so you think that he's a little more used to what's going to come at him than what Jordan would be, for instance, or what Jermaine would be. But we just had, he was out all summer. He had a blood clot, and I've never had to deal with guys not practicing. And it's legit stuff. We had one dude, guy faked it. He found out that probably wasn't the right thing to do.
The St. Joe's game the other day, Lamont scores in bunches, and then tonight Issa scores in bunches, and then Sags gets hot in the second half. Maybe it's kind of interesting. Do you need somebody to kind of do that? I mean, that's maybe not necessarily the same guy night in, night out, but does somebody have to do that?
Nobody has to get 30, but all those guys have got to contribute. It can't be just one or two of them. It's got to be, we thought going in, Issa, Lamont, Wes, Sags, Logan, Drew, we thought our front line would be pretty good. And, it is good, it's just not very consistent. And they've got to get more consistent. But that being said, Lamont had to go out of practice yesterday because his wrist was hurting so bad. And there's a lot of swelling in it. So he's not, you got to get through the ball to be able to make it. It's hard to do whenever you've got inflammation and swelling in your wrist.
That's what he dealt with.
It's a shooting wrist, and it's the one he had surgery on. So it's just been a whole bunch of things.
Coach, thank you.
Yes, sir.